ॐ श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Today we are going to see the summary highlights of the Antima Adhyaya of the Antima Shatkam of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So we all know by now that the 18 chapters of the Gita unfold the Mahavakyam Tat Tvam Asi, but in a different order. Tvam Tat Asi, right? And the first 6 chapters are Karma Pradhana Shatkam, the middle 6 chapters are Bhakti Pradhana, and finally we are seeing the Jnana Pradhana Shatkam. Now, chapter 1 presents the fundamental problem. Yeah, what is the fundamental universal problem? Shoka, grief. Yeah, so the grief is due to moha. That is why the Bhagavad Gita is called Shoka Moha Nivritti Grantha. And so chapter 1 presents the samsara, vividly described in Arjuna Vishada Yoga chapter 1, that how the shoka is due to moha. Then in chapter 2, Krishna starts the Gita Upadesha with verse 11. And what does Krishna say? Ashocyanan vashochastvam prajnavadanscha bhashase. There is no legitimate cause for grief. Why are you grieving? Panditaha na anushocanti. So the whole chapter 2, what did we see? The solution to the fundamental universal problem of grief. And the solution is Sankhya, knowledge. Now, that is why in chapter 2, which has the essence of the entire Gita, is called Upakrama Sankshepa, the beginning summary of the entire Gita. All the teachings are there in chapter 2, Sankhya Yoga. Then from chapter 3 up to 17, we see the elaboration, the elaborate details, no? About karma, about bhakti, about jnanam, about jnana sadhanani. And if you have noticed from chapter 13, Krishna is giving all the ways to cultivate the Samskrita manas. You know, amanitvam, adambitvam, abhayam, sattva, samshuddhihi, and so on. Guna chapter 14, and so on. Why? For us to cultivate a Samskrita manas in order to arrive at the Aikyam, Jiva Ishvara Aikyam. The Asi Padashatkam is the last 6 chapters. Now, 18th chapter is not anything new, but it is the concluding summary of the entire Gita. So, it is called Upasamhara summary. So, chapter 2 is the beginning summary and chapter 18 is the concluding summary, and in between we have all the details. Now, why is the teaching given directly in the beginning itself? The question is asked. It's somewhat like when we switch on the TV and there is the news channel. So what do they present? The headlines. No? In a few points the headlines will be presented and then the details will be covered step by step, and again the headlines will be given. So this method of the Shastra is called Sankshepa Vistara. Sankshepa Vistara. Capsule, in a nutshell, the teachings are given so that we know what to expect. What is the goal? And then the elaborate details are there. And then finally, again, summing up the theme of the Gita. So this chapter 18 is called Moksha Sannyasa Yoga chapter, and it is the longest chapter of 78 verses. Now, the title means moksha, we know, comes from the much dhatu. Much is to release, to free. So moksha is freedom. And freedom or peace or liberation or, Swarupananda, Nirvana is all one and the same thing. But sannyasa, what is the meaning of sannyasa? We have seen this word very often in the Gita. Remember, chapter 3 was called Karma Sannyasa Yoga chapter. Chapter 4 is Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga chapter. Chapter 5, Sannyasa Yoga. And now Moksha Sannyasa Yoga. So, in Sanskritam, we break it up as Samyak, me plus us. Now, us means to give up or to throw away, eliminate. Sam means samyak. So the total giving up or renunciation is the meaning of sannyasa. But again, it is a word which is very contextual. So in the context, we have to interpret the word accordingly. So the title simply means that mokshaya sannyasaha. For the sake of moksha, there needs to be renunciation. And even the Upanishad, we have seen the same theme. Na karmana na prajaya dhane na tyagi naike amritatvama. These are the Purna Kumbha mantras, where the Upanishads say that not by karma, not by progeny, not by wealth, but by tyaga alone can one attain the amritam moksha. So that is the significance of this title. Now, when we talk about sannyasa, we have seen how Krishna is slowly leading this depressed and deluded and confused Arjuna step by step, chapter by chapter, up to the ultimate sannyasa. But where does Krishna start? Starts with the karma sannyasa in chapter 3. So karma sannyasa is actually karma phala tyaga. So it's nothing but karma yoga. So initially Krishna is encouraging karma sannyasa for everyone, giving up attachment to the outcome and the consequences. Yeah. Am I worried about the outcome of my action? How to know that we are all practicing karma yoga? One way is to see whether my anxiety level has come down. If I can be calm and balanced in any situation, then the karma phala tyaga is already in my mind. So if the anxiety level goes down, then definitely I'm practicing karma yoga. So again, we come back to the twin principles. One is Ishvara Arpanam, offering actions to Ishvara, whether it's role playing, parenting, Panchamaha Yajnas, Dhanam, Tapas, whatever actions, Nitya Naimitika karmas, and Prasada Buddhi, receiving the results or the outcome as Prasada because Ishvara is the karma phala data. So this is the first stage of sannyasa called karma sannyasa. Then Krishna went on to the next chapter, 4 and 5. We saw the higher stage of sannyasa. And what is that stage? The giving up not only of karma phalam, but of the I and me and my notion itself. That is called kartritva bhoktritva tyaga. And that can only happen by knowledge. So when I understand that there is a higher I principle and I'm not this finite, struggling, body-mind centered I, then that is the higher sannyasa called Jnana Karma Sannyasa. So for that Jnana Nishtha, there is no effort required. No effort required. One has to simply do what? Drop the erroneous notions. I am this, I am that, I like this, I don't like that, I want to do this, I don't want to do that. All this finite struggling I, who is the karta, bhokta, sukhi, dukhi, jiva, that notion has to be dropped. Here Shankaracharya in his Bhashyam says, tell me which is easier, to drop something or to lift something? Which is more difficult? Lift. Because the moment we hear lift, then it implies some effort. No? You're right. Lifting is would be in most cases difficult, yeah, and dropping would be easier. Then Shankaracharya says, then why don't the people in the world drop their anxieties, expectations, and their dukkham and pain and struggle when it is so painful? Why are we holding on to our expectations and raga dveshas, our demands, and that is the cause of samsara. Hmm? So the erroneous notion in Vedanta is this deha abhimana. But what is the understanding we have? I am the dehi, I am the shariri, shariravan, the one who is endowed with the body and endowed with this body mind. So Shankaracharya says also it is susampadya. Susampadya means what Ramana Maharishi says, this jnana yoga is ati sulabham. Yeah, you just have to stop this identification with the deha. Yeah, so easy it is. So thus we see that sannyasa has different meaning in different chapter. Now this chapter 18 generally we divide it into 6 topics. Yeah, and the 6 topics are, it opens with Arjuna's question, who seeks some clarification, a doubt. 1 to 12 verses. Then 13 to 17 is, we see a little Upanishad section here, Jnana Yoga. And then we have 6 more aspects of life analyzed in a threefold way based on the Guna model. And then Krishna goes on to summarize the 2 main teachings of the Gita, Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga, or Buddhi Yoga and Sankhya Yoga. These 2 teachings are summarized beautifully in the end. Then finally, Krishna is going to give a summary, with the Charama Shloka, Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Shakanam Vraja, and then concluding remarks. In the end, what are the concluding remarks? Who will benefit from the study of the Gita? Who is ready, a mature student of Gita? Whom should one not share the Gita with? Teachings, all that Krishna is going to say. Then finally, wrapping up the whole chapter and the whole Bhagavad Gita, we will see the return to the palace, Hastinapura palace, where Sanjaya is, narrating the dialogue to the blind king Dhritarashtra. That is how this ends. Now, what is the first topic? The first topic is Arjuna's last question in this chapter. He has one more question, and this is his last hope, hope of taking sannyasa. So let us see what his question is here. It's the very first verse. Arjuna uvacha sannyasasya mahabaho tattvamichhami veditum tyagasya cha hrishikesha prithak keshi nishudana. O Keshi Nishudana, you have destroyed many demons, Krishna, but I want to know the tattvam, the truth of Tyaga and Sannyasa. Yeah. So you see the question here. Arjuna's doubt is, in other words, is it a new doubt? No. The same question Arjuna has asked in the 3rd chapter, in the 5th chapter, in the 2nd also. Jyayasi chet karmanaste mata buddhir janardana tatkim karmani khore mam niyojayasi keshava. Krishna, which is better? Performance of this ghora karma, the kshatriya duty, fighting this war, or, retreating into solitude. When you're praising knowledge, should I not seek a guru and then go to a quiet place and do Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasnam and live a monastic, peaceful life instead of fighting? This may sound like a valid question. Yeah. There is so much struggle, Krishna, and effort and uncertainty. We don't know the outcome of the war. But why did Arjuna not ask this question during the exile period when it was so peaceful? Yeah, that time he was preparing for battle. He was sharpening his weapons. He even fought with Shiva and got the Pashupata Astram. Yes. And so Krishna can see that Arjuna is wanting to escape through the avenue of sannyasa. He is not ready for the monastic life. So at the moment, the duty is mandated. And that is why you see Krishna's consistent reply. Uttishta, yudhyasva, prepare for war, get up, pick up your Gandiva and do what is to be done. But at the same time, Krishna praises knowledge also. Why? Because initially we have to follow the route of karma sannyasa. So doing karma phala tyaga, what will it do? It will clear the turbulence of the mind, the raga dveshas, the kama krodha malam of the mind, give me chitta shuddhi. And with the chitta shuddhi, we'll develop sadhana chatushtayam. Then we are ready for guru prapti and shavanam, mananam, nididhyasnam and gain the jnana nishtha. So where is Arjuna in all of this? No, he has to be a karma yogi first. No? Surrender to the duty that is facing him at that time and place because it's a very crucial time. So the war is about to begin and he is hesitating and wanting to withdraw. So his question here is, Krishna, I wish to know what is the meaning of tyaga and what is the meaning of sannyasa? Are they the same or how would you explain it? Now, Krishna will tell finally that both these terms, tyaga and sannyasa, are interchangeably used. Yeah, both of them mean giving up, sacrifice. But there is a slight technical difference. Tyaga means sacrifice or giving up. When we are doing Ekadashi fasting, then we do tyaga, we give up eating. Right? Maunam, we do tyaga. Then sometimes we have to give up our me time to attend to something more important, or we do tyaga of so many things in life, no? Giving up of some of my favorite habit or something. But at the same time, there may be a sense of loss and the longing may still be there. There is a practice, no, in South India or to go to Kashi and you have to, give up something, not something that you dislike, but something that you like. Why is this practice there? To encourage tyaga, detachment in our life, no? But when we return, are we filled with that tyaga vritti? No, there will be still, sometimes a longing will be there. Oh, did I give up too soon? Swamiji will say, if you give up mangoes, then when somebody is distributing mangoes, you will feel very envious. Oh, sapad mudiliye. I am not able to enjoy the mango and mangoes are being distributed. So we are bound by that wow, right? So tyaga is that giving up of something, tyaga. And in the context of the Gita, it means karma phala tyaga. But sannyasa is the total giving up. The giving up of the I notion itself. That I am the doer. That I am the enjoyer. Kartritva, bhoktritva, tyaga. So that is the meaning in the Gita. But in the Hindu tradition, sannyasa we all know is the last stage of the ashrama, last ashrama. So a life is divided into 4 stages: brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha and sannyasa. So the sannyasa is, that is called ashrama sannyasa, when a mumukshu approaches a guru and wants sannyasa diksha. So then there is a homa called Viraja Homa, a fire ceremony. And the guru, when the guru is convinced that the shishya approaching him has a Samskrita manas and has to some degree of sadhana chatushtayam, and who can be now freed from all the duties and obligations towards family, society, community, even nation. That is called the ashrama sannyasa diksha. So you see, that is like an express highway, yeah, a razor's edge. So then when you have no duties, what do you do as an ashrama sannyasi? Only one thing, devotion to the truth. Guru Bhakti, and all your time or most of it would be spent in Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam. So we can appreciate what a mature mind is needed to take the formal ritualistic ashrama sannyasa. But here in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna and the Veda Mata also is encouraging the internal sannyasa for the majority of people. The internal sannyasa is to remain where one is, yeah, engaged in a life of activity, role playing, swadharma based, pursuing dharma, and pursuing this knowledge. So this is like a scenic route, yeah, scenic route which is pleasant, and we can slowly move towards the end to the brahmachari, grihastha and vanaprastha. And so in the process gaining chitta shuddhi and adhikaritvam. So the Veda Shastras always encourage pravritti marga first, paving the way for the higher nivritti marga. Chinmayananda Swamiji will say evolution, not revolution. Yeah. So we don't want to jump into extreme, sannyasa. So then Krishna, you would have seen in the earlier chapters how Krishna is always praising the karma yogi. Says Arjuna, when you perform your duties, your swadharma, you are as good as a sannyasi. You are a karma sannyasi. And so you will also, graduate to the jnana sannyasi. So that is the first verse. And then Krishna answers in the first 12 verses, we see there's quite a discussion on this terms, Tyaga and Sannyasa. But then Krishna finally sums up the discussion and says, Yajna dana tapat dharma natyajam karyameva tat yajno danan tapaschaiva pavanani manishina. Whether you're an ashrama sannyasi or a grihastha, perform these three, yajna, danam and tapas, without giving them up. Natyajam. Why? Because pavanani manishinam. They are purifiers. They will give me chitta shuddhi. So give up kamya karmas, no doubt. Give up the kamya karmas and share this one. So give up the kamya karmas and the karma phala ichha, but remain like a lotus leaf in your life. Padma patram ivambasa. No? Like Ramakrishna Paramahamsa would say, let the boat be on water, but let the water not be in the boat. Yeah? So developing that inner detachment and the peace, all of us can grow as an internal sannyasi in the heart in this way by doing Krishna Arpanam and without thinking of the consequences of our actions. Yeah. So Arjuna, fight this adharma, perform your mandated duty, and you will also be a perfect karma sannyas. We see so many current models. Modi is also a model. Then a metro man who is so dedicated to a life of activity. Yeah, and then we have our own examples of Vyasa, Vasishtha, King Janaka. Krishna gives his own example in the 4th chapter and says, Arjuna, see how active I am. I am upholding the world cycle, Srishti, Sthiti, Laya, but I have nothing to gain and nothing to lose. So King Janaka is administrator, and in the thick and thin of activity, in his heart of hearts, he is a sannyasi. So that is the main emphasis of the Gita, that ashrama sannyasa, the monastic life, is meant only for a minority, and it is an exception to the rule. But the rule is the Vaidika dharma, pravritti marga first and the nivritti later on. And so in the next, in this very section, Krishna explains the threefold tyaga. Now this chapter 18 is going to be also based on the guna model. Remember, we saw the guna model in chapter 14, sattva, rajas, and tamas. Yeah. So now Krishna is going to explain what is sattvika tyaga, what is tamasika tyaga, and what is rajasika tyaga. So here in the seventh shloka, Krishna starts with tamasika tyaga, and then rajasika, and then sattvika. So sattvika tyaga will be when one gives up the sangha. Sangha is the attachment to the phalam, the outcome, the consequences. But one still performs the niyata karma. Niyata karma is the mandated duties are followed. That would be sattvika tyaga. The understanding that this is to be done by me, period. Kartavyam, yashtavyam, without attachment. Then what is Rajasika Tyaga? Rajasika Tyaga is when one is fearing the karma because it will cause me dukkham and pain and struggle and fatigue. When a person says, oh, fasting, that must be so difficult, I cannot do, or puja, I have to sit for hours, I cannot manage that. So there is a tyaga there, but it is a Rajasika Tyaga. Then, so one is following one's own ragadveshas. Then what is Tamasika Tyaga? Tamasika Tyaga is giving up the karma itself. Is when one is so lazy and there is resistance and running away from the duty is called a Tamasika Tyaga. So we now go to the second topic in this chapter, which we saw is Jnana Yoga. Now, Jnana Yoga is all about how every entity in the world is a combination of two principles, right? One is Anatma and one is Atma, or Kshetram and Kshetrajnaha. So every jiva is a combination of two principles, matter principle and consciousness principle. Matter is insentient, it is jadam, and it is borrowing sentience, whereas consciousness is Chetana Vastu. It is lending sentience and it is independent. So Atma, what is the connection between the two? Atma lends sentience to Anatma, blesses Anatma. And once the Anatma is blessed, then now these instruments can interact with the world. So there is a transacting jiva with the world. But what is the jnanam all about here? Self-knowledge is I am the dehi, I am the shariri. I am endowed with the bodies. I am not the body, but I am the navadvare pure dehi naiva kurvan na karayan. Now we have seen a number of shlokas in the earlier chapters, in the first shatkam, where Krishna says, Pashyan, Shinvan, Sprishan, Jigran, Ashnan, Gachan, Shvapan, Shvasan, Pralapan, Visijan, Grinnan, Unmishan, Nimishan, Napi, Indriyani, Indriyartheshu, Vattanta iti dharayan, Naiva kinchit karomiti, Yukto manyeta tattvavit. So the wise person, the tattvavit jnani, even as he is seeing, drinking, eating, walking, talking, any activity, I don't do anything. Is the understanding. Naiva kinchit karami. Then who is performing the actions? Indriyani, indriyartheshu vartanti. The gunas are interacting with the gunas, which means that the gunas are impelling this matter principle in me, the sense organs, to contact the sense objects, and there is this dynamic interaction going on. But there is an silent Sakshi Tattvam, and that is who I really am. Now, what is the nature of this Anatma matter principle? There is an acronym, I will share it in the group later, called OM ACT, OMACT by Swamiji. So, O stands for the matter principle. If you want to understand the truth about the bodies, that is body and mind, then O stands for that which is objectifiable. drishya vastu. Yeah. So I can observe my body and my mind. That is objectifiable. Then M, it is a material. It is very intelligently put together, bhautikam, by the Panchamahabhutas. Then A stands for attributes. Yeah, the tallness, shortness, intelligence, yeah, fairness, darkness. Attributes are there, sagunatvam. Then C stands for changing. It is subject to shadvikaras. Yeah? Change, decline, decay will always be there. And T finally is transient. Transient is subject to transactions. We can say transactional. So, Om Act, the 5 features of the body mind complex. And we will see exactly the opposite is the principle of consciousness. Consciousness cannot be objectified. It is not material in nature. It was never put together. It is nirguna, no attributes. It is changeless, avyayam, and it is avyavahara. Avyavahara means no transactions. Yeah. So Atma does not transact. So Jivatma, Atma simply is. Yeah. But when one is identified with the matter principle, then there is the activity happens. So Shankaracharya explains, that aviveki, the one who lacks the eye of discrimination, cannot see the two facts, will only see activity. Just like when, in the night sky, sometimes we would have seen the moon and the clouds. The clouds are moving, but we would have thought the moon is moving. Right? But the truth is, clouds are moving. So that is the confusion. And why is the confusion there? Shankaracharya says those who have not studied Vedanta consistently and systematically will not have the jnana chakshu to understand the truth about Atma and Anatma. So here there are 2 important verses, 16 and 17, which describe the aviveki and the viveki. 16th is aviveki. Tatraivam sati kartaram atmanam kevalam tuyaha pashyatya krita buddhitvat nasa pashyati durmatihi. So this durmatihi is this aviveki, lacking discrimination. So this durmati, he or she cannot see the truth. So, since they have not done Atma, Anatma, Viveka, Vichara or Drik, Drishya, Viveka, then what happens? Atma becomes a Karta. They see the Atma as Karta. So then the confusion is, they will ask questions like, why am I like this? Why did I do this? Why did I not do that? And what is the purpose of life? Why was I even born? How am I going to face all the karmas in my life? So these questions are because of the Deha Abhimana. Okay. Now the next 17th shloka is talking about the wise person. Yeah. Now the wise person, Yasya nahankrito bhavaha buddhir yasya na lipyate hatva pisa imam lokan nahanti na nibadhyate. So Krishna says, Yasya na ahankritaha bhavaha buddhihi yasya na lipyate hatva api imam lokan na hanti na nibadhyate. So, in contrast, this Viveki, he doesn't have that I notion. Yeah, I notion, and he's completely surrendered. And he knows that nature is acting, and I'm just an instrument in the hands of the higher will. So, Hatvapi sa imam lokan. Even though these people are killed, but I do not kill. Na hanti, na nibate is never found. So this is a tricky situation here. It has come before in chapter 2 also. Nahanyate hanyamane sharire. So Krishna says that the jnani will never take himself to be the subject, or object. Now that I do something and somebody has done this to me, both are absent for a jnani because I am Ananda Atma Sarupa Atma. And Atma is actionless, akarta, abhokta. So this is the ultimate vision and understanding of the jnani. So that is a little Upanishad section here in a condensed way from 13th to 17th shloka. Now we come to the third topic, and the third topic is somewhat similar to what we have seen before. No? Now remember chapter 14, the Guna chapter, what did we see there? A thorough analysis of the three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas. So we saw the definition of the three gunas, then how do the gunas bind the jiva, then what is the sign, which guna is manifesting when, how can I discern that? Then what is the phalam? What is the consequence of a particular guna combination in this life? And what will be the trajectory and gati after this life? All this was detailed out. Then based on this guna model, in chapter 17, we saw how Krishna analyzed 5 aspects of human life in a threefold way. The first was Shraddha itself. Our Shraddha can be sattvic, rajasic or tamasic, depending on whom we worship, why we worship, the gods, and what are we expecting. Then ahara, we saw what is sattvic ahara, rajasic and tamasic. Then yajna, rituals, no? Why do we perform the rituals, with what attitude? Again, threefold analysis was done. And finally, dhanam and tapas also. Dhanam is the charity. What is sattvika, tamasika, rajasic? And finally, tapas. Now, the same logic Krishna is going to borrow here in this chapter also. And we have already seen Tyaga. Now, Tyaga in a threefold way. What is Sattvika Tyaga, Rajasic and Tamasic? So now, coming back to topic 3, Krishna is going to analyze Jnanam, then Karta, Karma, then Buddhihi, Dhritihi and Sukham, happiness, all in a threefold way. And this goes on up to 39th shloka. So one by one, we will see this. Now, Jnanam. So from the 18th, we see that Krishna is going to talk about, what are the 3 kinds of Jnanam. Now here, Jnanam is knowledge, all right, but here it means the understanding. What is my understanding? What is my vision, world vision? How do I view everything in life? Is it sattvic, rajasic or tamasic? So from 18, we see this. Look at the 20th shloka. Sarva bhuteshu yenaikam bhavamapyayamikshate avibhaktam vibhakteshu tatjnanam vidhi sattvikam. So Krishna says, Arjuna, that knowledge, if you have the knowledge or if you have the vision of the one indivisible tattvam amidst the diversity and plurality in the world, then you have a sattvic view. So the sattvic view, we also saw in chapter 13, samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram. The one who sees the nirdosham samam brahma in all. That is, I see the oneness, the oneness that in everyone there is the Panchamahabhutas. Everyone is endowed with some guna composition. So everyone goes through emotions, and struggles. So there is an empathy. There's an understanding that there is only the same Ishvara Tattvam in all. So that is Sattvika Jnanam. Then what is Rajasika Jnanam? So you can see, how Sattvika understanding and vision alone will promote harmony and peace. Because I see the shining indwelling tattvam in all, including my pets, my neighbors, and anything, everyone around, even sentient, insentient, in everything, we see that the ultimate tattvam is that ekam advitiyam tattvam. This is called the Sattvika Drishti, Advaitika Drishti. Then let us look at Rajasam Jnanam. Pritaktveena tu yat jnanam nana bhavan pritak vidhan vedti sarveshu bhuteshu tat jnanam vidhi Rajasam. So the Rajasika Drishti or the Rajasika view of the world will be based on differences. Yeah? So I look around and the whole humanity and the world is divided by caste, community, religion, nationality, language, so many things that are dividing the world. Yeah? Then when I see only differences, Namarupa, 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 then that will lead to Raga Dveshas, Kama Krodha. Oh, I like that color. I hate this person. Yeah? I want this. I don't want that. So this Nama Rupa Buddhi will entice one and there will be this, push and pull syndrome and one is caught up in the samsara cycle. So this is Rajasika Jnanam. Then Tamasika Jnanam is Yattu Kritsna Vade Kasmin Karye Sattama Haitukam Atattvarthavadalpancha Tattamasa Mudahana. Now Tamas we know is deluding the mind. Yeah. So what is the tamasic view of life and the world? So when a person is, caught up with just one idea, one ideology, and fanatically clings to that, that is tamasic jnanam. For example, if one thinks, the body is the truth, Atma is Satyam, Atma is Satyam, or my Devata, my Ishta Devata is the only God. Yeah, there is no other God. So there is an extreme fanatic attachment to an ideology, and these are the fundamentalists that we see today in the world, leading to religious wars. No? So both tamasic and rajasic understanding will lead to disharmony, conflict, and war. So that was a threefold division of based on the Guna model of Jnana. Now the next topic Krishna takes is karma. How is karma to be divided in a threefold way? 23. Niyatam sangarahitam aragadveshata kritam apalapretsana karma yattat satvikam uchyate. In the 23rd shloka, Krishna says that what is satvika karma? The karma that is done without phalam ichha, yeah, and which is to be done. Niyatam karma without raga and dveshas and without attachment to the consequences and the phalam. Then what is rajasika karma? It is easy to guess, same principles. So Rajo Guna will make one very ambitious. So here Krishna says, Sa ahankarena va punaha. So the one who is passionately following the outcome and the result and who has the pride that I am undertaking this action. So does not consider himself as an instrument, but is pursuing artha kama goals in life and put in bahula ayasam. Lot of effort and strain and struggle will be there. So that is called rajasika karma. Then tamasika karma, 25th shloka, anubandham kshayam himsam anaveksha cha paurusham mohat arabhyate karma yattat tamasa muchate. What is a tamasika karma? Is when one doesn't even plan anything. Anubandham kshayam himsam. There is no plan in place and without considering, am I capable of doing this karma? No, or avoiding karma and out of moha. So Arjuna's running away from the war would have amounted to tamasika karma. Yeah. But instead, we know that he is going to fight the war, and that would be a sattvika karma because he is fighting adharma and he is doing what is to be done in the cosmic scheme of things. But tamasika is completely opposite, doing what is not to be done and not doing what is to be done. So I will not do what I dislike and I will do what I like. That is a very tamasic attitude towards karma. Now, the next topic Krishna takes is the karta. Now, who is the karta now? Karta is the doer. Yeah? The doer is the one who is identified with the body and mind. Again, we find the guna model here. Who is a sattvic karta, rajasika karta, and a tamasika karta? So that is in 26. Mukta sango naham vadi dhrityutsaha samanvitaha siddhya siddhyo nirvikaraha karta satvika uchyate. When are we sattvic doers? When I do what is to be done. So we are all expected to do something at some time and place. So Ishvara is manifesting through a situation and it is demanding that I do something. So a Sattvika Karta will not hesitate or run away from the duty, but he'll be a Mukta Sangaha and Anahamvadi. He will never think that I am doing this, yeah, but rather Ishvara has chosen me as an instrument to perform this action, this role playing. So without the phala ichha and without the notion that I am doing that, and with dhriti and utsaha, there will be, even passion will be there for such a activity. Utsaha means enthusiasm. The sattvika karta will be very dynamic and very motivated, not by the phala, but by the very chance, the opportunity to offer this activity to Ishvara. That would be a sattvika karta. And then siddhi, asiddhi, nirvikaraha, and remaining balanced, whether it turns out to be siddhi, success, or asiddhi, failure. Yeah, but there is no failure for a karma yogi. We have seen that in detail in the past. Yeah, there will always be spiritual growth. Externally, from the worldly eye point, one might be judged as a successful person or a failure, but the one who has this attitude, who is a sattvic karta, there is always success because there is inner growth. So the karta, then who is a rajasika karta? 27, ragi karma phala prepsuhu lubdhaha. Himsatmakaha ashuchihi harshashokanvitaha karta rajasaha parikirtitaha. So Krishna says the same logic here. A rajasika karta will be motivated by goals. Yeah. I want punyam, I want artha, I want kama, materialistic goals and ambitions, but they won't care for the means. The dharma will be compromised. Yeah, this is like climbing the corporate ladder. And so, harsha shokanvitaha. Sometimes they'll be elated when there are profits and goals have been accomplished, and sometimes, like the stock market, they'll go crashing. Shoka will be there. Because they are ragis. Ragi means the one who has raga dvesha. They have strong likes and dislikes, and they're attached to the phalam. Yeah, I expect this, and this is what I want should happen to me. And lubdha means greed. Yeah? The greed, I have achieved so much and I'm going to achieve much more. This is a rajasika karta. Then tamasika karta is ayuktaha, prakritaha, stabdaha, shataha, are those who are very stubborn and who are resistant to what is to be done, who are lazy and who will postpone the karmas and who are neglecting their duties in the family or in the society. They say, this is, who I am. I don't care what happens to the family or community or country. Yeah, shataha. Shataha is a very strong word for hypocrite. So, alasaha, they are lazy. And dirgha sutri, they postpone everything. They don't do what is to be done now. And then we know that then that will only land in more pain and suffering in the end for a tamasika karma. Then after covering knowledge, karma and karta, Krishna is going to analyze buddhi, the intellect, also in a threefold way from the 29th shloka. Buddhe bhedam dhriteshchaiva guna tastividham shino. Now the next three are buddhi, dhriti and sukham. Now buddhi is the intellect. Today, whoever we are, wherever we are, it is thanks to buddhi. Whatever decisions I took in this life, here I am. So the buddhi is the charioteer of this body chariot. No? Remember the Katha Upanishad analogy. The body is a chariot, yeah, and the mind is the reins, sense organs are the horses, yeah. Buddhi is the sarathi, and the jiva is seated. So the buddhi has to navigate properly. Priyo marga or shreyo marga, dharma or adharma. Do I want to pursue dharma, artha, kama or moksha? So this discriminating buddhi is going to be praised by Krishna as the sattviki buddhi. Look at the 30th shloka. Pravrittincha nivrittincha karya karye bhaya bhaye bandham moksham cha ya veti buddhi sa partha sattviki. So that buddhi is a sattvika buddhi. The one that knows what is karya and akarya, what is to be done and what is not to be done. What is the pravritti marga, nivritti marga? Now, pravritti marga, initially the Shastra do encourage us to go and accomplish our goals, artha, kama, as per dharma, but not eternally. One has to come to nivritti. So the buddhi that begins to discriminate. Do I want to pursue these finite goals in life, or is there something else, a higher goal, parama purushartha? Such an inquiring buddhi is sattviki. Bandham and moksham. So even in little things in life, sleep, getting up late in the morning, that's going to bind me, but getting up early and doing yoga, that's going to free me. So all this is the buddhi's role. In fact, the buddhi has got the role of parenting the mind. Our minds are like children, very stubborn, palavat, dridam, no? It will resist getting up early in the morning. It will resist sattvic food. But the buddhi has to parent the mind and say, no, this is going to lead us to moksha and freedom and happiness. So that is a sattviki buddhi. Then Rajasi buddhi in 31, Krishna says that the one who does not know, the buddhi that cannot discriminate between dharma and adharma, karyam and akaryam, yeah, such a buddhi will be Rajasika. The buddhi that is just pursuing dharma, artha and kama, limited goals, but expecting permanent happiness. Then tamasika buddhi is in 32, adharmam dharmam iti ya manyate tamasa vrita. Now clouded by the tamoguna. What happens? The tamasic buddhi will take adharma for dharma and dharma for adharma. Completely opposite. Viparita buddhi. Yeah, viparitanscha buddhihi. And will argue, continuously that adharma, they fight for adharma, protect adharma and go against dharma. So you see how powerful the gunas are in so many facts of our life. The next Krishna takes up dhriti. Dhriti means perseverance or fortitude. And dhritihi, Krishna talks about sattviki dhritihi is Manaha pranendriya kriyaha yogena avyabhicharinya. So, avyabhicharini dhritihi means fortitude or perseverance that does not shake, that does not waver. Yeah. Steady, firm, unwavering devotion, unwavering commitment is called avyabhicharini dhritihi. Now, such a dhriti, we know how useful it is in the worldly pursuits, and what to speak about the spiritual commitment. So that is why it is very important, for us to be consistent and systematic in Vedanta Vichara. For that, I need a very strong buddhi and dhriti. When we start Vedanta Shravanam, Swamiji will say it's very romantic, romantic phase of life. Everything is new and exciting. But after a few years, we find that the dhriti and the buddhi starts falling, sinking. We feel bored, and the dhriti and the buddhi may look for change. And this social media today, with social media and YouTube channel, so many choices are there. But here Krishna says one has to have that commitment. Every day, that 1 hour can you dedicate to Shravanam, Vedanta, same time, same place at your home. No? Then you have a Satviki. And such a dhriti is a master of the manas and the prana. That is, there is shamaha and damaha for the Satviki dhriti. Then Rajasi dhritihi is a prasangena phala akankshi. No? So the Rajasi dhritihi, that endurance and the perseverance, is all directed towards limited goals in life. No? That is called a Rajasi dhritihi. Dharma, Artha, Kama. Even dharma, when we do a lot of pujas and go on pilgrimages and, so many lavish, ostentatious rituals we perform. Why do we do that? For punyam. And through the punyam, I want a more favorable situation in life, or a better birth, or go to Swargaloka. Yeah. But Krishna says we are still in samsara. If we want to accumulate punyam, then that is also going to keep the samsara chakra moving. So at some point, we have to decide that I want to slow down this chakra by karma yoga and then jump out of the samsara chakra by jnana. For that, I need satviki dhritihi, satviki buddhi, and I need to be a satvika karta and gain satvika knowledge and do satvika karmas. And all that is explained here. We can see the logic, no? Absence of karma phala michha is satvik. Doing what is to be done, nitya naimittika karmas, pancha mahayajnas, role playing, all with that attitude of detachment and prasadabhakti. And Rajasika is everywhere where there is an intense craving, ragadvesha, and materialistic pursuits, Rajasik. And Tamasic is doing opposite actions, harmful actions, or just being lazy and indolent, neglecting one's duty. Now here Tamasi dhritihi is yaya swapnam bhayam shokam vishadam madanevacha na vimunchati durmedha dhritihi sa partha tamasi. So the tamasi dhritihi. So dhritihi for the tamasic mind will be filled with bhayam, depressed always and fearful and dreaming away the time, daydreaming. Swapnam, bhayam, shokam will be there. Vishadam and madam. So such a mind will be very closed mind, and that is, Krishna says, tamasi dhritihi. Now there is one last set, that is sukham, happiness. And Krishna analyzes the threefold happiness based on the guna model from shloka 36 onwards. So what does Krishna say? We will see. So there is a table here which you can see all these, so far what all has Krishna analyzed? Tyaga in a threefold way, then Jnanam, Karta, Karma, Buddhihi, Dhritihi, and now Sukham is going to come. And in the previous chapter 17, we saw 5 aspects: Shraddha, Ahara, Yajna, Danam, Tapas. 5. So 12 features, 12 important aspects of human life have been analyzed in a threefold way based on the Gunavan. Now let us see the last one, that is Sukham. So what is Satvika Sukham? यत्तदग्रे विषमिव परिणामे मृतोपमं तत्सुखं सात्विकं प्रोक्तम् आत्मबुद्धिप्रसादजम्. So that sukham which Krishna says is like poison in the beginning. Yeah, but it is amritam at the end, is satvika sukham. Now what does that mean? That means when we are on the Shreyo Marga, on the path of renunciation, then I have to cultivate Daivi Sampath. I have to discipline the mind and the body. And for anything for that matter, if I want to be proficient in music and dance and sports and Sanskritam and yoga, I have to discipline. I have to prioritize my life. I have to give up certain habits, late night browsing. So all this is, appears poisonous in the beginning because one has to go against one's own nature. But what does Krishna say? Once the habit is in place, is there not Ananda in the morning after the yoga class, how light your body feels? And then when you do Shravanam initially may appear like poison because we have to be consistent and punctual and do our mananam and log in for the Zoom. So initially it demands effort and discipline. But at the end, when we see the clarity is there, then there is the clarity is like prasada in the mind. The mind is enjoying that amritam. So that is the Satvika Sukham. So in short, Satvika Sukham is enjoying the Swarupananda, the Ananda that is born of self-knowledge and not dependent on any situation, person or event. The next one is the Rajasika Sukham. So what is the Rajasika Sukham? It will be dependent on an event, situation or a person. Vishayendriya samyogat yattadagre mritopamam pariname vishamiva tatsukam rajasam smritam. Now we all know the coffee ananda in the morning, bhaji ananda, payasam ananda, TV serial ananda, all this ananda, Netflix browsing ananda is all there. Krishna says they appear very enticing, junk food ananda. So they are amritam in the beginning. Because tasty, delicious, that one sip of coffee or tea in the morning, it fills me with ananda. But slowly what happens? The mind will crash into tamas. Every time we take stimulants, or enjoy some contact-born anandam, then there will be the opposite dvandva there. There will be a vacuum and there will be a depletion of energy and, effort. That is why Krishna has said earlier, Yehi samsparshaja bhogaha dukkhayonaya evacha adyantavanta kaunteya nateshu buddha ramate buddha. So that anandam which is born of contact, contact between our mind and sense organs with sense objects, they will appear very attractive and pleasant in the beginning, but they will deplete the faculties in the end. Don't we feel the eye strain now? Too much browsing giving us eye strain. Then too much content consuming is cluttering up my mind. And the anxiety level, everything will go up. So Shankaracharya says elsewhere that when we indulge in this kind of happiness, then it's going to rob us of, virya, dhanam, rupam, medha, prajna, all this. The beauty will go away, and the wealth also. We're spending so much for rajasic enjoyments, no? And the medha, prajna, the capacity to discriminate and analyze, sankalpa shakti will go down. Yeah, this is the nature of rajasika sukham. Then let us look at tamasika, the last one. यदग्रे चानुबन्धे च सुखं मोहनमात्मनः निद्रालस्य प्रमादोत्थं तत्तामसमुदाहृतम्. Tamasika Anandam is, let the alarm go 5 times, 6 times, but I am happily sleeping. Not now, tomorrow. So, when we are sleeping, there is Ananda. Why? I don't have to do anything. So, if there is no effort, then there is no pain, no struggle. So let me just lie, be lazy, and enjoy. So, such an ananda born of laziness, delusion, and neglect of duty is called tamasika anandam. Okay? And then in the 40th shloka, Krishna, sums up everything and says, न तदस्ति पृथिव्यां वा दिवि देवेषु वा पुनः सत्त्वं प्रकृतिजैर्मुक्तं यदेभिः स्यात् त्रिभिर्गुणैः. Arjuna, on Prithvi Loka or among the gods or in any loka, Asura Loka, Deva Loka, nobody is free of the guna composition. Yeah? Prakriti Jaihi, there is no one that is free of the gunas. Krishna says in the 40th shloka. And then after that, in the next session, we'll see how these gunas, their varying combinations has led to the fourfold classification of the entire humanity into Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. Now remember, Krishna in the 4th chapter says, Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam gunakarma vibhagashaha. My prakriti, the 3 gunas, based on them is the guna composition or your swabhava, and based on the swabhava will be swadharma. So if you can match your activities, your swadharma with the swabhava, then that is the best combination. Yeah. And so you see how this chapter, Moksha Sannyasa Yoga, begins with Arjuna seeking clarification on Tyaga and Sannyasa, and how the entire chapter 18 is going to just describe the 2 lifestyles, Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. Yeah. So the Jnana Yoga is when we approach a guru and exclusively pursue the knowledge, the higher knowledge, Paravidya. And Karma Yoga is also to pursue knowledge but remaining in the world, developing detachment and being in the world as a dynamic Karma Yogi. So the final message that Krishna wants to give Arjuna is, Arjuna, you are not ready for Sarva Karma Sannyasa. Yeah. So you go for Karma Sannyasa initially. Yeah. And you purify the mind, gain the eligibility, and gain the maturity. So you see, there is really no choice or option for any one of us. Even an ashrama sannyasi has to also gain chitta shuddhi. Just because they have not married and they have taken ritualistic sannyasa doesn't mean they are free. They also have to do yajna, dhanam, tapas wherever possible and purify, gain the chitta shuddhi and gain the ultimate clarity, sarva karma sannyasi. So just like a soldier, a soldier cannot say, I will not fight at the border. I want to retreat and have a peaceful life. Or a mother. The mother, she cannot abandon her family and children and say, I don't want a parent. It's too much of a struggle for me. No. So the whole thing is about the duty is mandated and one has to do that. But on the other hand, look at Mirabai, who was married to Rana Chittor. Was she able to fulfill her grahastha dharma? No. Because her mind was ready. Samskrita Manas. So she could effortlessly abandon with no regrets no sin of omission, and just walked away. And Ramakrishna Paramahamsa stayed as a Grihastha, but as a Paramahamsa, the ultimate jnani. So these are some examples of Krishna gives also to show us, the way of Tyaga and of Sannyas. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.